Students, I am Ananya. I welcome you all to Sai Educational Hub. Today we will discuss a poem for class 10 students, Dust of Snow by Robert Frost from the First Flight book. I'll give a detailed explanation of the poem with the word meanings and the poetic devices. The Dust of Snow by Robert Frost is a beautiful short poem. This poem tells that even a simple moment has a large significance. The poet has mentioned crow and hemlock tree in this poem. Crow signifies his depressive and sorrowful mood, and hemlock tree is a poisonous tree which is also associated with despair and gloom. Both of these signify that the poet was not in a good mood, and so he describes the dark, depressive and bitter side of the nature to present his similar mood. Now let's begin with the poem. The way a crow shook down on me the dust of snow from a hemlock tree. Let's look at the word meanings. Shook means shake. Hemlock, it is a poisonous tree with small white flowers. Now let's see the setting of the poem. The poem is set in a scene where the poet is in a very bad mood and he is walking by a tree, a hemlock tree. As he passes by, a crow happens to throw some snow dust on him. Whether it falls on his head or shoulders is unknown, as there is no specific mention in the poem. The readers are also left in doubt about the bird's specific action, whether the crow was preening or shivering with cold or just readjusting itself on the branch for taking off. It happened to send some particles of snow upon the author. Here, the two agents of nature, the hemlock tree and the crow, are used as metaphor of sadness and gloom, just like the poet's mood was in the opening scene. Now let's go through the next part of the poem. Has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. The word meaning of rued is held in regret. Now, in this stanza, it is clearly shown that for reasons unknown, the author was having a terrible day. But due to the fall of the snow on his head, lifted his mood instantly. He had already spent his day in a bad mood, but the rest of it was saved by the crow and the hemlock tree. Generally, hemlock tree and crow are used for negative references, but the poet has used them beautifully to portray that sometimes the bad omens or inauspicious things can bring joy and happiness too. One must not take things for granted and should be open and accept whichever way nature chooses to bless us. So, from this poem, we have come to know that the supremacy of nature as a whole made the poet realize how petty, insignificant his problem was. The fact that hemlock tree is poisonous combined with crow, being the indicator of doom and fear, are used in the poem as the carrier of happiness in the life of narrator is really ironical. The poet, through these objects, has tried to highlight that sometimes creatures linked with negative aspects of life can be the bringer of life and happiness. Now, let's look at the poetic devices used in the poem. First of all, let's look at the rhyme scheme. The rhyme scheme of the poem is AB, AB, CD, CD. Now, next poetic device used here is alliteration. Alliteration is the occurrence of the same letter or sound at the beginning of adjacent or closely connected words. For example, has given my heart, H and H. This is an example of alliteration. Next sentence, and saved some part. Here, saved some, S, S. It is used as alliteration. The next poetic device used in this poem is assonance. Assonance means the prominence of a vowel sound throughout a line is called assonance. Now, if we look into stanza 1, line number 2, we see the line, shook down on me. The O sound is prominent here. The next poetic device used here is enjambment. The meaning of enjambment is when the same sentence continues to the next line without the use of any punctuation marks. It is called enjambment. It has been used throughout the poem. If we see the poem, we'll see there is not a single comma in between the lines. The entire poem, the way a crow shook down on me, the dust of snow from a hemlock tree, has given my heart a change of mood and saved some part of a day I had rued. After the full stanza, there is a full stop. So this is the case of enjambment. Thank you, students.